Hello, welcome to the Valtra factory here in Finland. I'm here today in a G135, which is the tractor which won Best Tractor of the Year, the Best Utility. This is an active version, so as you can see we've got the mechanical hydraulics and we don't have the Smart Touch armrest in here. Fantastic tractor for your stock farm or that kind of activity. I'm just going to spend a few minutes today explaining to you the different menus we have in the dashboard, because we've got a few new features in there and I thought you might like to see how you can make your way around them.
So to help you get around the new dashboard display, we've put in this nice little soft keypad here. As you can see, in the center you have your OK button. You've got 4 arrows here to help you navigate the menus. You have this button here, and then also you have the back button. So with the back button you can always return to the menu you were in before. So with those buttons you can navigate through the menus, and then as you can see here we have on the left side we have this display here, TFT display, and then in the middle we have the fuel information, and then on this side you can see your speed. First of all, if we start on this right hand side, if we use the right hand upper button here, you can see we can actually change what information we see here. So right now I can see the PTO RPM, the engine RPM, the number of hours on the tractor, and so on and so forth. So you can select what you need from there. In the middle here we have fuel on this outer right hand side. This is the engine temperature. This is the air pressure, and this is the AdBlue amount. So the amount of AdBlue you have in your tank. Up here you have the time, obviously, and I'll show you in a minute how you can change that as well. But now let's focus on this screen here, because this is where we have the most of the information. So on this little screen on the left-hand side. So through here we can select a little bit what we can see. So if I use the down arrow, you will see in this bottom right hand corner I can change what information is visible there. So again, I can have the speed, I can have my linkage height, area covered, for example. There's many different settings in there. You can go and play with them yourself to see a little bit more what's in there. Down here on the left hand side we can see that we have auto traction, so brake to neutral on, and we also have 4-wheel drive auto on. I can turn it off so you can see it disappears, or I can turn it back on. The other option is I could have auto diff lock, and that would also be visible there. You can see what gear you're in here, and you can see that obviously right now park is on, and then when we change direction you would see the forward and reverse there. You can now see that I've also popped on auto, so automatic 1 is there, and if I was to change into auto 2, then for example right now, then you can see that auto 2 is on, and you can see which auto settings you're using. Top left hand corner you can see what your engine cruise speed is, and then obviously you have your 2 speed cruisers on this right hand side. So now we're going to go into the menu. So if I just press the left button, for example, so left or right, I can get into this menu, and what you can see is we have many different icons up at the top, and I'll take you through them in a minute. And then down here you can see the different options. To navigate the menus, simply if you want to go to the next main menu you press the right button, and if you want to just go through this menu then you just press the down button and you'll see you can go through them. This first one I'm on is triggers, so triggers for counting. So for example, say I want to change the trigger for counting, I simply press the OK button, and then I can scroll through using the left and right buttons. So for example, that would be off the electric switch, that would be counting from when the linkage is down, hydraulics, etc, etc, and you can decide what you want. Once you've decided, for example I'm going to say linkage, simply press OK and you have selected it. If you press the back button I think it won't save it. When you go down onto here you can now set your working width. So for example right now I'm 2 meters, I want to change it to 4, so simply press the OK button and then start using the side to side buttons to get it to where you want it. Press OK, it's saved. Perfect. Then down here what you will be able to see is your driven distance, so how much you've driven in total, and of course down here you can reset if you want, and that will reset to 0. Now I want to jump on to the next menu, and this is your worked areas. It will tell you how much worked area you've done, how many hectares per hour, etc. This is your total fuel usage, and then we get on to settings for the tractor. So right here we have settings for the PTO. So first of all I could turn on PTO cruise, which is this one here. PTO, so that just means that when I turn on the PTO it will automatically set the engine RPM to achieve the desired PTO speed. So if I am using 540 it will automatically set the engine RPM cruise to 2000 RPM to achieve 540 on the PTO. This then is the PTO clutch. It's sense aggressivity, so how quickly the PTO will try and start. So if you pop it onto number 3, for example, it'll be a much faster start, and if you put it onto number 1, it'll be a much slower start. So for heavier implements, and number 1 is a little bit better. Then you can have your auto PTO height triggers. So when you drop your linkage down, how low does it need to go before the PTO turns on, and the same for lifting up when it will turn off. And then the next menu is the transmission settings menu. And from here, you can see that we have many different settings. And some of these settings in the past haven't been able to be adjusted in an active tractor. So this is a new feature for us, being able to adjust them in an active or a high tech. So first of all, the menu we have here is the direction change aggressivity. So you can change whether the direction change when you use a shuttle is a slower movement or a much faster movement. So number 5, that would be much faster. Then we have the power shift aggressivity, so how quickly it tries to change the power shift. So is it a smooth or a much harsher power shift change? And again, 1 being the most gentle and 5 being the most aggressive. Then we have the automatic 4-wheel drive when moving off. So if you change direction, you can set the 4-wheel drive to be on, for example, for 4 seconds. And this is regardless of whether you're using 4-wheel drive or not. If you're in 2-wheel drive, it'll keep the 4-wheel drive on for say 4 seconds when you change direction. This is really useful, for example, front loader work. If you've got something heavy and your back wheels are a little bit light on the ground and you don't have so much grip, it just gives you that extra bit of grip when you are moving off. Then you have your auto traction on and off. So you can simply toggle that on and off. If you have it off, you need the clutch for the tractor to stop. If you have it on, then the tractor will stop automatically on the brakes. As you can see down here, we have this little arrow here. That simply means that there's more menus to come if we keep going down, so I'll do that. CD automatic on and off, B to C automatic on or off, and that's only from B to C, so that just means that if you are accelerating, it will take you from the B range into C range, but it won't drop you back down into C. This menu here is quite an important menu. This is your clutch pedal bite point. So what that means is where the clutch pedal begins to bite. So number 1 means it's at the lowest height possible, so the closest to the floor, and number 5 means it's at the highest height. So you can adjust that to be what you like. My personal preference is to be around 1 or 2. That's my personal preference. This very last one then is also the wheel circumference. So with this, if you change your wheels, you can change the circumference of the wheel. So if you put bigger or smaller on, we recommend that you leave this to the serviceman to do. Changing the circumference won't actually adjust the top speed of the tractor. It certainly won't make the tractor go any faster, so it's best to leave that to your serviceman to adjust. So if we carry on from here, we can then go to the next setting. So this is very simple, your auto 2 setting. So this is your automatic 2, so you can set the parameters for your automatic gear changing. So you can have your upper gear change and your lower gear change. And then we have some hydraulic settings here, which are actually really useful. So if we start from the top, you can have your hydraulic settings on and off through here. Again, really useful hydraulic system when doing loader work, for example. But if it's not to your taste, you can turn it off. And then from here, this is a new feature for active tractors. You can adjust the electronic valves. So for example, if your front loader or your front linkage, for example. And the way you do that is you simply, as I'm doing now, is you select which one you want to adjust. So, for example, I want to adjust the speed of the front loader. So this symbol is the front loader. That would be the bucket tilt. That one would be third live. And then this one would be front linkage. So you can choose which one you want to adjust. I'm going to adjust the height of the front loader. And then simply drop down into here. And then for the plus side, I can adjust in 5% steps how quickly it moves. And the same for the minus side, and then I can come in and I can also adjust whether it goes to float or not. If I was to be in, for example, live third, I could have continuous flow on that as well. Obviously, being for a front loader, you can't have continuous flow. Now, going on to the next menu, you can see here I can adjust the maximum engine revs and the minimum engine revs allowed. So 650, obviously lower idle. And then this very last option is the engine braking, so when I'm in automatic, how quickly it will try to shift down the gears to slow the tractor down. Quick steer in this next menu is the top one, so you can adjust the sensitivity of quick steer. And then down here, this last one here is the automatic 4-wheel drive steering. So basically, if you turn the angle on the steering wheel and the wheels, it will turn off the 4-wheel drive when you're using automatic, and turn it back on when the wheels are straight. If it's off, then the 4-wheel drive will be on when using the automatic. This next menu is your trailer air brakes, testing those. And then we have the DPF regeneration menu. So basically, you can only use this when the tractor tells you it needs to regenerate. Usually the regeneration is done during a service with the oil change. So usually you don't have to do this yourself. Key thing is, if you're out in the field, you can delay this by pressing the 5 minutes. You can delay it for 5 minutes, and you can do that 5 times. After that, it will force a regeneration. So just so you know that is how it works. Then we're getting to the end of these menus now. So here we have almost a final one. We have here your different screen settings. So for example, you can change down here, you can change metric or imperial, so Brexit and non-Brexit. You can change the time. So if you realize the time is wrong, you can change it from there. Brightness of the screen, you can also have day or night mode. So if you want it to be white, you can also flick it through there. If you prefer it, you can change it. I prefer the night mode. It's a little bit nicer. All right, and then we can just pop over onto the info screen where you can see your battery voltage and your oil temperature, as well as the engine temperature. If while you're driving you happen to have any service codes, so for example you can see from here the service code, simply go into your menus, press the side button, and you can see we have one more menu here, and this is actually where you can see your service codes from in case you need to access them. If they have no service codes, then that menu is not visible. And that is it. That is really how simple the menu system on the new G Series is. We hope you enjoy using it.